Affirmation Buddies. Written by Meetool Bark. Read by no one and nobody. Drastic Initiative.
Stupid Arya, stupid Sonata, how dare they defy me? Don't they realize that they're nothing without my genius to guide them?
Even though she was 7 blocks away from her home at this point, Adagio was still sore at her subordinates. Although she had her fair share of disagreements with Arya and Sonata, this particular argument was something she would not forgive them for. She gave them a plan, and they told her they wouldn't do it. This angered her to no end. Before losing her powers, no one ever said no to Adagio Dazzle, let alone her compatriots. She continued to vent her frustrations aloud to the cold night air as she walked down the empty sidewalk.
Well, I'll show them. I never wanted those idiots anyway. And once my plan comes together, they'll be begging me to bask in the glory,
said Adagio. She stopped at a lamppost and leaned against it to rest.
So, Arya thinks that I have nothing to offer Discord, does she? Well, we'll just see about that.
As she basked in the lamppost's dim glow, a quartet of hungry eyes stared at her from an alleyway across the street. Before she could notice them, they disappeared into the shadows. After a pause, she snapped her fingers.
I know just what to do,
she said to no one in particular.
Discord said that he was after Sunset's shimmer, right? He must be planning to manipulate her into carrying out his dastardly schemes. So, all I have to do is give her a little shove in the right direction, away from her friends, and towards the she-demon she truly is. That way, Discord can corrupt her without too much effort. It's brilliant.
Just then, she heard a loud clang behind her. Curious, she turned around to see what it was, only to find an overturned trash can with no sign of a culprit. With a shrug, she turned back around and began crossing the street.
But of course, I have to be careful about this, she mused. If I want Discord to give me my powers back, I need to follow his rules. That means whatever I do to nudge Sunset Shimmer, it has to make as little sense as possible. I'll need some supplies. Where did I put my wallet?
She patted down her waitress uniform, only to find that it was not in any of its pockets. With a growl, she tore off the blue skirt, revealing her usual purple outfit underneath. Once out of her grease-stained uniform, she found her wallet without much trouble.
Ah, there we go,
she said. She opened it up, and a group of moths flew out. A vein on her forehead bulged as she stared at the $3 that made up the wallet's contents.
Okay, fine. That's fine,
Adagio said in a strained tone.
No need to lose your temper so soon. You just need to use some of that vintage Adagio Dazzle ingenuity. That's all. My magic may be gone, but I still have...
She was interrupted by a collection of growls behind her. She turned around and raised an eyebrow. 4 stray dogs had appeared from the shadows, and 3 of them were glaring at her and snarling. The first dog was a red Doberman with a rounded jaw and glistening fangs. The second was a large brown bulldog that appeared to have some sort of spiky lump on its tail. The third was an unusually scrawny German shepherd with purple fur and orange hair over its eyes. The only dog that didn't seem to be growling at Adagio was what appeared to be a cross-eyed mixed breed with green fur and multicolored spots. This dog simply stared off into space with its tongue hanging out. Adagio huffed.
Huh. Oh, it's just a bunch of mangy mutts, she scoffed. What do you want?
The Doberman bared its teeth and arched its back. Adagio was still unfazed.
Look, I don't have any food, if that's what you're thinking, she said. Even if I did, I wouldn't share it with the likes of you. So go bug someone else.
None of the dogs listened to her. 3 of them began to advance, while the cross-eyed one simply stood there and scratched itself with its hind leg. A mixture of frustration and fear welled up in Adagio's chest.
Didn't you hear me, you stupid mutts? I said scram! Beat it! Shoo! She snapped. I have lots to do tonight, and I haven't the time nor the inclination to deal with... Ah!
She was cut off by the Doberman lunging forward and snapping his jaws just inches away from her pant leg. Finally realizing the predicament she was in, she broke into a run. The 4 dogs were quick on her heels, their angry barks echoing throughout the city.
Okay, minor setback,
said Adagio, nursing a few nips the dogs left on her.
But I can't let this kind of thing stop me. If I did, I'd be no better than those 2 layabouts back home. Now, it's time I got what I need.
She entered a small park, taking care not to attract the attention of any policemen on their rounds. Venturing off the beaten path, she heard a buzzing sound coming from the underbrush. She grinned.
A hornet's nest. Perfect,
she whispered. She took her waitress uniform and began tearing it apart, shred by shred.
I won't need this anymore, now that Discord will give me back my powers. It's about time the stupid thing was put to good use.
Part of the uniform was converted into a makeshift satchel to store all of her spoils. She then wrapped the rest of the uniform around her arms to protect them from getting stung. She peeled back the bushes, revealing the circular nest on the ground.
All right, Adagio, easy now,
she told herself, sweat trickling down her brow as she reached out.
Gently, gently.
She then noticed something out of the corner of her eye. Turning her head, she saw the cross-eyed dog from before, staring back at her, one of its eyes drifting over to her leg. Adagio blanched.
No, shoo,
she hissed.
Go away.
The cross-eyed dog opened its large jaw, only to shut it again. Its eyes never left Adagio's leg.
My leg is not a bone, you mongrel,
Adagio snarled.
Go bite someone else.
But the dog didn't leave. It just kept staring at Adagio's leg, opening and closing its jaws at random intervals. Finally, Adagio couldn't take it anymore.
I said, go away!
She kicked the dog right in its jaw, sending it flying back with a yip. She gave the dog a smug smile.
Yeah, that's what you get.
Her triumph was interrupted by a loud and incredibly angry buzzing in her ear. The recoil of her kick caused her to slide forward, nudging the nest and disturbing the hornets. Adagio screamed in pain and terror as the entire swarm surrounded her, stinging her from every angle.
That was probably more trouble than it was worth,
Adagio grumbled, using the scraps of her uniform as makeshift bandages.
I'm going to have to try something a bit safer.
She continued walking through the park, scooping up anything she could use. Thorn bushes, rocks, poison ivy, and more all got stuffed into her satchel. At the park's exit, she heard a bunch of crickets chirping. Another sinister grin formed on her face.
So, the rain moves like music, eh?
She said.
Well, let's see if they're like these fellows.
She burst through the underbrush, happening upon a group of 11 crickets singing their nightly tune. As soon as they saw her, they began to scatter.
Oh, no you don't,
Adagio yelled.
Come here, you stupid crickets. Come here.
She ran back and forth, trying to snatch up as many of the small insects as she could. Alas, the crickets were simply too fast for her, dashing in between and around her legs. In one desperate attempt, she tried to pounce on them, only to land face first into the ground. Her entire collection of junk went flying every which way as the crickets made their escape. Adagio pounded her fist into the gravel walkway.
I said come here, not go away,
she screamed. A collection of familiar growls, followed by one odd squawk, echoed behind her. Turning her head, she saw that the stray dogs had returned. Her eyes went wide.
No, I didn't mean you guys,
she shrieked.
Get away from...
She was interrupted when the collective weight of all 4 dogs pressed her face into the ground. Their howls of triumph could be heard all around the block.
Okay, first thing I do when Discord and I take over is that all dogs have to give me back rubs,
Adagio swore to herself.
That'll teach them to mess with the likes of me.
The moon was directly above her as she limped over to her next stop. There was a simple apple orchard at the edge of town. All of the lights in the farmhouse were off, indicating that everyone was asleep. Adagio chortled and rubbed her hands together.
I should have come here in the first place,
she said, dipping her voice so as not to disturb any of the animals.
This is sure to give Sunset the shove towards corruption.
With her makeshift satchel slung over her shoulder, she snuck into the large red barn. As soon as she was inside, she fell to her knees and scooped up handful after handful of hay. She stuffed each handful into her satchel until it was full to bursting, snickering all the while.
There, that ought to do it,
she said, feeling quite pleased with herself.
Next, to get all this to the school, so that my plan can really begin.
When she emerged from the barn, she discovered that the lights in the farmhouse were on. Someone was standing on the front porch, but from Adagio's vantage point, it was hard to tell who it was.
"You sure you heard something out here, girl?"
asked a familiar rustic voice. A bark was heard, and Adagio's blood ran cold.
Oh no, not another one,
she thought. She tried to tiptoe her way out of the barn, but the objects in her satchel rustled with every step she took. Just when she got outside, a brown Sheltie started yapping like mad.
"Hey, you! Stop right there!"
the dog's owner called out.
"Winona, sick him!"
The Sheltie barked and dashed towards Adagio. Not wanting to be tormented by dogs the fourth time, Adagio darted away as fast as her damaged legs could carry her. She continued running down the dirt road until she didn't hear the dog barking anymore. As soon as she thought she was safe, she took a moment to catch her breath.
Eyes on the prize, Adagio. Eyes on the prize,
she panted, a sinister twinkle in her eye.
Once you become Discord's queen, this'll all be worth it.